Challenging implies time which has got the best out of you and which has made you put in that extra effort. So a lot of new age crimes have come. So there is a need for a new strategy by the government. We lost 2,000 crores because of cybercrime. Our attack surface is very large.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Our today's guest is a very distinguished military veteran with more than 4 decades of military service and an internationally recognized cybersecurity mentor, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant. Dr. Pant had been our National Cybersecurity Coordinator, and during his leadership in this role, our nation rose from 47th position to 10th position in the Global Cybersecurity Index by United Nations.
The Global Cybersecurity Index 2020, where India has been ranked at 10th position.
Dr. Pant is an alumnus of Osmania University, Madras University and IIT Kharagpur, and he holds a PhD degree in the Information Security Metrics. Dr. Pant was head of Army's cyber training establishment and has won multiple awards from President of India.
Warfare is fought in 5 domains: land, air, sea, space and cyber. One of the most important emerging domains of warfare, that is cyber.
Attacks will continue to take place. They will get worse and worse and more. Now with 5G and AI coming in and AI versus AI and whatever.
He also holds a distinguished alumni award from IIT Kharagpur and Lifetime Achievement Award by FSAI. Dr. Pant had led our country in various global forums like World Economic Forum, Quad Dialogue, Prague 5G Security Conclave, Israel and Singapore Cyber Weeks, and led Resilience Vertical of Global Counter Ransomware Initiative.
I dream of a digital India where cyber security becomes an integral part of national security. Why did we ban TikTok? We banned it because we found that it had 20 to 30 crore users in India, and after every 10 videos, when we did that research, we found that one video was there which was saying something against the government, saying something against a personality or something. Influence operations were taking place.
Dr. Pant has not yet given up, and currently he holds the chairmanship of Cybersecurity Association of India, chairman of India Future Foundation, and global advisor of Cyber Peace Organization, besides multiple advisory roles. So ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's welcome Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant today in our podcast. So thank you very much for taking out time and joining our podcast, The U-Turn, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I was going through your profile and it is incredibly rich, and I'm sure the youth and especially the cybersecurity professionals and enthusiasts are highly impressed and inspired by your profile. But throughout your journey, sir, you have managed many critical assignments and profiles. Which profile, sir, have you found most challenging so far and why?
Firstly, greetings of the day to all the viewers of the U-Turn, and thanks to Ashish for giving me this privilege. You see, challenging implies time which has got the best out of you and which has made you put in that extra effort.
Sir.
So although I've tried to do that in every appointment I've held in my career, but if you ask me to choose one which you have asked, I would take my mind back to 1992-93 when I was in 8th Mountain Division.
Sir.
When 8th Mountain Division was handling the entire valley, there was no Rashtriya Rifles.
Okay.
And the GOC had given me the task, GOC first was General Mavi, then General Garewal. He had given me the task of trying to break the code of the militants by listening to their radio transmissions and then trying to find their locations.
Sir.
And that was the time when the terrorist organization Hizbul Mujahideen was at its peak. Salahuddin was roaming around freely.
Sir.
So there were tough times, a lot of casualties. The moment you came out of the garrison, you were fired upon. In that environment, to find out the location of terrorists, to break their codes, I did not sleep, I think, any night in those 2 years. So although I've been in Op Pavan also, and I was a commanding officer in Kargil, in Srinagar.
Okay, sir.
But if you ask me that one which brought out the best in me, I would go back to that time in '92 when it was us against the terrorists.
Okay, sir. I was also part of 8 Mountain Dew, sir. But later, I mean, after Kargil, I was posted in Dras at that time.
Oh, tough.
Sir, our podcast, This U-Turn, is inspired by Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Viksit Bharat. And I'm sure you would agree that Viksit has no meaning without Surakshit.
Absolutely.
And today, in conversation with you, we want to actually interpret Surakshit in terms of cybersecurity and specifically for our defense forces. Now, if I look at, there are two visions which our Prime Minister has given. One is the Digital India vision, which is a flagship program to empower or transform our nation into a digitally empowered society, and with a focus of 9 multiple sectors.
Yes.
And then simultaneously, Prime Minister Modi also launched a cyber safe vision. There are multiple initiatives which were taken, like starting with your previous profile, National Cybersecurity Coordinator. Then there are other bodies, like for example, certain I4C, NTRO, and the National Cybersecurity Policy, which were rolled out in order to govern everything, sir. So, first of all, do you think that these initiatives are sufficient? And second is, what is, if you look at 2047, what is your vision of cyber Surakshit for India?
Thank you, Ashish. That's a good question as to what do we envision Cyber Surakshit India in 2047. So let's first reach there and then we'll come backwards as to where we should aim to be. So in 2047, I think the cyberspace of India should be safe, secure, trusted, resilient, and vibrant, and contributing to a national prosperity.
Sir.
That is what cyberspace should be. And each of these words has a meaning. So when I say safe means it should be safe for the citizens compared to the sort of crimes that are taking place. It should be trusted. So I should have trust. Trust implies ethical aspects should be there. There should be privacy there. There should be transparency. It should be resilient. Now, resilient is a word that needs to be explained a bit because cyber attacks cannot be stopped. As long as you and I are living in an interconnected world, you cannot stop anyone from dialing your number. You can block him, but he will dial the number. Similarly, if you have an IP address, he can send a mail to you. You can again block him. So in an interconnected world, the attacks will continue.
Sir.
And these are the 3 hard truths actually of cyberspace. Number one, that if you depend on software, and we cannot get away from that, then vulnerabilities in software will remain. If you see a software program, it has millions and millions lines of code. And somewhere in between, there'll be a hole which they will take advantage of.
Correct.
So the first hard truth of cyberspace is vulnerabilities will remain. Second is that if there are vulnerabilities, then somebody will take advantage of it and will attack you. So second hard truth is attacks will continue.
True, sir.
And the third hard truth is that the attribution of these attacks, that means where the attack came from, will be as difficult as what it is today. Why is that? Because if you see how the cyber attacks take place, he comes through 2 to 3 hops. So he has hired a server in USA, a virtual private server, a VPS as it is called. And behind that, he is in Netherlands. He's hired another server there. Behind that, he's in Germany. And then after that is where he's actually sitting. So you cannot trace, because if I ask the VPS provider, the cloud service provider in USA as to who has paid the money for it, because of the privacy laws, they will not tell me. Same thing with other democracies. So it is very difficult to trace the cyber attacks. And then there's the dark web. And I'm not even talking of crypto and all that. So the attacks will continue. So what is the solution? The solution is resilience. Resilience implies that how do you continue to provide operational efficiency and business continuity in the face of cyber attacks.
Correct, sir.
So that is the sort of cyberspace that we have to achieve in 2047. And in addition, I am also wanting 2 more things to happen. One is that we should have an apex organization which handles cybersecurity in terms of accountability and responsibility. Today, the organizations that you mentioned, CERTIN, etc. So CERTIN is under Ministry of Electronics and IT. NCIIPC is under the NTRO, I4C is under the Ministry of Home Affairs, NCSC is under the NSA, Ministry of External Affairs has got a cyber diplomacy wing, so they are working in silos. That is not the best solution.
So are they fragmented, sir, or it's a coordinated effort, sir?
So that is why the National Cybersecurity Coordinator is there.
Okay.
He's there to coordinate all this, but it's not easy the way we work. So that is why most countries around the world have created an apex organization,
Okay, sir.
a National Cybersecurity Center. In fact, Australia has created a ministry of cybersecurity.
Okay.
So most developed nations have created an apex organization which is accountable and responsible, and it handles most of these verticals that we mentioned. So this is what I see in 2047. I see, and I am again repeating, a safe, secure, trusted, resilient, and vibrant cyberspace which is contributing to our national prosperity. I see an apex organization which is accountable and responsible for securing cyberspace. And the third thing I see is a strategy. Our present national cybersecurity policy is 2013 vintage.
Sir.
The world has changed after that. There was no ransomware, there was no cryptocurrency. So a lot of new age crimes have come. So there is a need for a new strategy, which is already being discussed by the government. It's not that the government is not doing anything. They have done a lot. And so that strategy should come in place.
Okay.
So if these things, three things are there at 2047, then working backwards to where we are today, we are one of the most cyber attack nations in the world. We've lost 2,000 crores because of cybercrime.
Correct.
1.3 billion smartphones, 90 million internet users. Our attack surface is very large. So the numbers are very large. So a number of attacks are taking place. So from where we are today to go to 2047 is, these are the things that we have to do for a cyber Surakshit Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Sir, when you spoke about this apex body, National Security Advisor, NSA, do they have, is the National Cybersecurity Coordinator reports into NSA? So NSA doesn't act as the apex body, or you're suggesting that we need to have a dedicated cybersecurity body?
So I'll tell you the situation as it is today.
Sure.
And it's a good question because very recently on the 27th of September 2024, the government has issued a gazette notification giving out the allocation of business rules.
Okay.
You see, so far, there was only in the Ministry of Electronics and IT, just one line written, cyber legal affairs, in the allocation of business rules.
Sure.
That means what is the task of that particular ministry. So 27th September, a clarification has come out that anything to do with the IT Act and incident response is the responsibility of CERT India under Ministry of Electronics and IT.
Okay, sir.
So incident response is his. Anything to do with cybercrime is the responsibility of Ministry of Home Affairs.
Okay, sir.
And they have that organization, a very good organization, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center.
Sure.
Anything to do with network security is the responsibility of Department of Telecom under the Ministry of Communications. And the fourth notification is that the requirement of strategic cyber coordination is there with the National Cybersecurity Coordinator under the NSA.
Okay.
So this clarification has come out in black and white. Gazette has been published. This is how we are functioning today.
Okay, sir. And sir, if I bring your attention to the cyber defense, now, for example, earlier and still now also, the methodology of warfare was conventional. Usage of physical force, traditional weapon systems, and large number of troops to occupy the geography.
Absolutely.
And then it turned into irregular warfare where the usage of state and non-state actors came into existence. And now it is completely changed. It is an unconventional warfare wherein the synthesis of many multiple modern warfare systems, like specifically the psychological warfare and the information warfare.
Absolutely.
Which is taking place. One of the statement which our Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, has said, I'll just like to quote it. He said that I am a strong proponent of the theme that mass media and security forces have great potential to converge together towards nation building and national security. And I think this idea was used very effectively by Ukraine during the Russia and Ukraine conflict, wherein they have opened up their internet access to the general public so that they can support an army in terms of perception building or propaganda wars.
Absolutely.
So in this kind of scenario, sir, if again I'll take you back to 2047, what kind of warfare do you see in 2047? Is cyber going to change this unconventional and we are looking at completely new method of warfare, sir?
So you mentioned conventional, you mentioned unconventional. Let me add a third term. It's called gray zone warfare or hybrid warfare, right? And that is, by definition, it is defined as a mixture of contact and non-contact, kinetic and non-kinetic, below the threshold of conventional warfare.
Okay, sir.
This is the definition of hybrid warfare or gray zone warfare. And that is a warfare which will continue till 2047. It is already taking place.
Okay, sir.
And let me give an example close by. India and China. We are in the midst of a gray zone warfare.
Sir.
So when I say contact, Doklam. When I say cyber warfare, uh, number of cyber attacks that are taking place. There is economic warfare going on. You know, they've tried this policy of string of pearls around us. They've tried predatory pricing into getting into our power networks and telecom networks. Predatory pricing means that if there is a contract of say 200 crores, they will bid 100 crores, you know, because something is state funded.
Okay, sir.
They have tried cartographic warfare by changing names of villages in the border.
Yes.
They
you're
have there is geographical warfare. That means a dam is being built for a strategic purpose. You see, so influence operations. And why did we ban TikTok? For example, when we went into details and we saw that there were about 30 crore users in tier 2 and 3 cities, then after you know, every 10 videos there was a short video of something maybe against the government, right? So that is how influence operations are carried. And you
Correct.
mentioned psychological warfare.
Yes.
So this mixture of cyber, influence, psychological, information, geographic, economic, contact, non-contact, this is the way forward. And this is happening today, and this will continue to 2047 because of, you know, that interconnected nature, the impact of economy. Now, as we speak, we are seeing tariff wars.
Yes, sir.
After Trump 2.0 has started, the tariff wars are there. So, you know, the economic impact of things is important. So that is the nature of warfare. Of course, we have to be prepared for the conventional war also. And the new emerging technologies, the use of drones is taking place. This is the nature of warfare that is going to continue, and it's already taking place to a large extent.
No, you're right, sir. We have a small game of cyber mythbusters,
Okay.
true or false. So first statement is, sir, hackers only target big organization and governments.
They target anywhere where they can smell money. You heard of recent cases of a businessman in Amritsar who lost 7 crore rupees to you know, scamsters. And when I say cyber criminals, I'm including hackers in that.
Sir.
So it's not only big organizations. Yes, that is for the data theft, but for money and you know, for other influence operations, etc. All of us are targets as long as we are interconnected.
You're right, sir. Probably, I think state actors focuses on large
Yeah, that would
establishment
be
and
for
governments.
affecting critical infrastructure and all that.
Sure.
That is different. Yeah.
Second statement, sir, a single compromised supply chain vendor can lead to a military data breach.
Yes, why not? There is a concept of e-bombs. I remember that in one practice firing,
Sir.
we found that if the rate of fire of the gun crossed a certain threshold, that gun got blocked. So there was a chip in that.
Oh.
That during war, it will stop a gun from firing. So this is a very important aspect that you mentioned, that the compromises can take place both in hardware as well as in software. So this is absolutely true that, you know, there is a poem, I think, that for want of a nail, a war was lost or something like that.
Sir.
So similarly, you know, any small impact on either hardware or software can definitely lead to a military debacle.
Correct, sir. So third statement is all personal data in India must be stored within the country as per DPDP Act.
Now, I am very clear on the DPDP Act. In fact, it speaks of cross-border data flow.
Sir.
And only certain sectors, this restriction is there. I'm not going to quote the exact clauses, But in general, I'm telling you that it facilitates cross-border float, and the sentence in the act is that certain countries may be restricted uh, from taking the data away from here. So that
Okay.
certain countries also will be specified by the Data Protection Board of India as and when it is established. But there is no blanket section on personal data going out of the country.
Okay. So fourth is artificial intelligence will completely replace human intervention in cybersecurity by 2047.
I hope not. Did I say
True.
true? No, false. Sorry. Because you see, human factor is the most important, and even in the autonomous weapon systems,
Sir.
there are three types of weapon systems. They are called uh, in the loop, on the loop, and out of the loop.
Sir.
In the loop means that before the weapon actually fires, it goes through the human being, so he takes the decision.
Okay.
On the loop means that the order is given, uh, but the human being has veto powers, so he can stop it at any point of time.
Okay.
Out of the loop means out of the loop. That means now there is no human being. Everything is automated.
No intervention.
No. So we are very clear that the laws for the lethal autonomous weapon system specifically say that there should not be any condition where the human is out of the loop. Otherwise, it is going to cause a lot of mayhem
You are right.
with unmanned drones and unmanned cars and all those things. Anything can happen.
You are right.
So the human being is very important. He will never be out of the loop.
Okay. Last, sir, every encrypted message can be cracked eventually.
Not as of today. As of today, the encryption is very strong. As and when the quantum computers come, which is in the future, then they say that the cryptography, which is either AES or RSA, both algorithms, would be possible to crack because of the quantum computers.
Okay.
But that stage of quantum computers has not come as yet. So as of today, the confidentiality of the internet, you see, internet is defined by CIA,
Sir.
not the American CIA, but C for confidentiality, integrity and availability.
Sir.
Confidentiality comes from encryption. So the encryption today is good. It cannot be broken till the advent of computers, quantum computers come.
Okay. And when you say future, sir, how far are we looking at? When?
So quantum computing is one of the most closely guarded secrets of any nation.
Sir.
As of today, 400 qubit quantum computers are there. In fact, some of these companies like IBM, they offer you research.
Okay.
They offer you their 400 qubit computers that you carry on research. China has claimed that they have reached 1,000 qubit computers. And recently, there is a chip that Google has come out with, which also, promises very high-scale computing. So, as I said, it's a closely guarded secret because if they have the capability and the data harvesting that they've already done, nobody will reveal that they are now able to break your code. So they will try and extract as much intelligence as they can
True,
out of whatever they have got till the time this thing comes out in the open market.
You're right.
But yes, this is a race for the future, definitely. Quantum computing.
Definitely. Sir, Indian military so far is considered as the fourth most potent military in the world after US, Russia and China. And the most important factor is the money. We are fourth largest spender on military. However, our budget is still compared to US, Russia and China is very, very low. We are spending somewhere around 78 billion, whereas US is spending more than 900 billion. China is spending more than 300 billion and Russia around 100 plus billions. So I think in terms of finance, there is a huge gap. Even in cybersecurity also, our budget is around INR 1900 crores, which is close to 200 million, vis-a-vis US 12 billion and China is around 14 billion. So the gap is huge.
Yes, yes.
So do you think that there is some disruption India also need to come up with in order to control this spendings on cybersecurity as well as the cyber defense?
So the figures that you mentioned of the spendings are basically, a percentage of the GDP.
Sure.
So if our GDP is today 3.5 trillion, and China is 5 times the GDP, and USA is of course almost 10 times. So naturally, the amount of money they can spend on defense and proportionately cyber is going to be different. But with whatever we have, uh, you see, it is not only the government spending, because a large part of our critical infrastructure, which includes power, which includes telecom, which includes the financial sector, they're all critical infrastructures.
Sure.
It's in the hand of private players, right? So this is a very important question that you raised as to how much should one spend on cybersecurity.
You're right.
So I'll just give you an example. There's a insurance company. Its value is $10 billion. They came under a ransomware attack. That means their entire main site also and their disaster recovery site, everything was encrypted.
Sure.
So all their policies, all their financial details, all their customer data, they had nothing. Everything was gone. So from 10 billion, they came down to $0, the value of that company. They had nothing. So naturally, they paid the ransom. So this is what now the board has to decide. On this, the government side, the decision makers have to decide, and on the private sector side, the board has to decide that the investment in cybersecurity is a very important aspect of risk management. And this is now a board aspect, right? At one point of time before COVID, in all my talks, I used to say that at least 10% of your IT budget should go into cybersecurity. But then COVID happened. In COVID, what happened? Work from home started. Our digital transformation that you mentioned
Correct.
took place. Large number of digital public infrastructure was created. CoWIN, UPI, Aadhaar. So after COVID, I started saying that now that the threat surface has increased, you have to spend a little extra. It's not 10%. It is now almost 12 to 15% that you must spend on cybersecurity in order to make yourself safe. So it's very important, the budget for cybersecurity. And what defense has done, you are aware that we have now created a defense cyber agency.
Sure.
Under the headquarter IDS. In each of the services, we have our own cyber service groups. And then we have now gone down in the army. There is at the command level, now there is a cyber operations and support wing, the CCO SW that has been created at the command level. Then we have got electronic warfare groups now, which is now in every corps it is coming up. So on the armies and the air force and naval side, a lot of transformation is taking place. National level also. In the budget, some measures have been announced. There's a cyber mission. I'm also a member in that. That has been given an extension. So that is a 4,000 crore program, by the way.
Okay.
Cyber physical systems. And NCIPC, NTRO, they've all been given additional budgets. In the recent speech of Finance Minister Sitaraman, all these things were mentioned.
Okay.
So from the government side also, and in the private sector also, things are happening. So the financial part is very important. Good question.
And sir, recently China in artificial intelligence market, they disrupted the market completely by rolling out this DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, yes.
Where are we lacking, sir? Why India is not able to disrupt, or are there effort being put in that?
So definitely the efforts are being put in. We have come out with the India AI mission. It is a 10,000 crore program, out of which almost 50% is going into creating a compute facility. Because for artificial intelligence, you need that computing power. Even though you may have the large language models, the foundational models and the algorithm, etc. But for the compute power, you need what is called the GPUs.
Sure.
And a very popular GPU is the NVIDIA H100 GPU, which is now being bought by India, although there's a long waiting list for that. So that is one part of it, creating the compute, and India AI mission is there. In addition, we have got a project called the Bharat GPT.
Sure.
Bharat GPT is a 250 crore project. It is being created in IIT Bombay, along with the help of some of the other agencies, and that is going to be our own model.
Okay.
And
what is the objective of this Bharat GPT, sir?
Bharat GPT is like Chat GPT.
Okay. Okay.
Like OpenAI and all these things. That is the foundational model where you have an algorithm, you give it a lot of training data, and then you create a model which will be your specific. So you see, like Chat GPT, we do not know what is training data, what are the biases that it has got. Like the DeepSeek that you mentioned,
Sure.
if you ask it anything about China, it says,
Yeah.
ki, sorry, just 2-3 lines, and that's how it's done for China.
Exactly.
So we are now making a model for India. Of course, it will not be like that. Nothing about India will come out, but it will be based on our own training data and meet our own specific requirements. Maybe regional languages are there, etc. So it is happening, and let me tell you, India is famous for creating solutions, especially when we come under pressure. So the cryogenic engine, if you recall, which ISRO made for the space, and in some of the other sectors like telecom, when this ban came on Chinese equipment.
Sure.
So this agency CDOT, along with the Tatas, they've now come out with their indigenous 4G, which is now becoming 5G. So earlier there were only 5 horsemen in the world creating 5G.
Sure.
So there were Huawei and ZTE in China. There was Siemens and Ericsson there, and Samsung. So Nokia and Ericsson. So there were only 5 players who were making 5G equipment.
Okay.
Now India has got its own technology for making 5G.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so telecom space, and I'm sure with the sort of talent that we've got, this a model better than DeepSeek, a low-cost model, will come out very soon. I'm very hopeful.
And so, like, we have reliance on NVIDIA for the chip, semiconductor chip, which is necessary for the artificial intelligence.
Correct.
Probably, like you are giving this example of telecom transformation, and we came up with our own solution. Probably, I think we will also have our own, so that the reliance on NVIDIA or US reduces.
That's very important. Semiconductors, so far we were totally dependent on, Intel, AMD, NVIDIA for GPUs,
Sure.
etc. Now again, the India Semiconductor Mission, it is a 70,000 crore mission. So from the government's point of view, we've addressed the National Quantum Mission, 8,000 crores. India AI mission I mentioned, semiconductor mission, the cyber mission that I mentioned. There's a new mission on critical minerals that has been announced. So coming back to semiconductors, out of 70,000 crores, something is going into designing the display part. 2 to 3 now chip manufacturing plants that are coming up. And as and when we have our own semiconductors, that is where that supply chain question that you asked becomes important.
So, and sir, coming back to our defense ecosystem, now if we look at our troops, our troops are not tech savvy, and they are constantly becoming target of social engineering like honey trapping.
Yes.
Or they are targeted through creating fake profiles on the social media, etc. And that's why I think Chief of Army Staff has recognized the need of transforming the tactical commanders into techno commanders. And he also emphasized that probably there is a need now to change the syllabus of NDA and other training establishment, keeping the technology in view. Simultaneously, you mentioned about the weapon systems, because now it is more integrated, automated, remotely controlled, starting from our missile systems, drones, usage of drones, our surveillance system, reconnaissance system. And if in case, if this infrastructure is compromised, or if our data is, military data is stolen, then that could have very negative and devastating effect.
Absolutely.
In terms of propaganda, war, etc. Now, in such kind of scenarios, sir, are we prepared as a nation or as a military to neutralize cyber attack from our adversaries?
Prepared as a nation, if you ask me, also includes the private sector, and I'm coming back to that.
Correct, sir.
That a lot of our critical sector being in the private aspects, today it's a very queer sort of a syndrome that the private sector is under attack by a state-backed cyber threat actor. So how can it prepare itself for an attack, to be prepared? So that is where the government has to step in, and the government is stepping in. That is why we created the NCIAPC and this concept of protected systems, etc. So there are 2 parts to your question. One is, as a nation, are we prepared for cyber attacks? So yes, all the agencies that I mentioned are now taking care of that. In fact, we have an agency called the National Cyber Coordination Center.
Sir.
Uh, the role of that agency is basically to preempt cyber attacks. So it has a presence in all the gateways of the country. That means from wherever the data from outside the country is coming inside the country,
Okay.
it has sensors there in all the gateways. Let's
Okay.
say about 120 gateways. And it is seeing the metadata. What is the metadata? Every packet that comes has a header. That header tells you, from which IP address it is coming, to which IP address it is going, what is the service there in that content, etc. Because the content you are not allowed to see,
Correct.
right, as per the existing laws. So from the header it sees from where it is coming, where it is going. Now, for example, supposing it is finding that this particular chain of packets is only going to one IP address. What does that signify? That signifies that probably this is taking place, going to take a distributed denial of service attack is going to take place, a DDoS attack.
DDoS attack.
Because that is how a DDoS attack functions.
Correct.
On one IP address, you overload it so much that the system crashes.
Constant
Right?
traffic.
Yeah. So now this NCCC is able to preempt that attack. Immediately it tells that IP address that you do something, that you are heading for a IP address. So these sort of preemptive actions are also taking place. It's
Okay.
not that you are preventing action. So one is at a national level. Second is at a tactical level in the TBA. Now today in our tactical battle area, we've also got systems in place.
Sure.
Right? We've got the battlefield surveillance system. Recently, we've got the ADCNRS, control reporting. So you've got the Shakti system
Sure.
in place.
Sure.
Then there are communication networks overall, AFNet and Naval Enterprise-Wide Network and the Army's NFS, etc. So those networks are also targeted, and a target, right?
Correct, sir.
And there is a new concept in cyber, it's called cybertronic warfare. Cybertronic implies a mix of cyber and electronic warfare.
Okay, sir.
Because now you're at the border, your systems are facing each other, you're not connected to the internet. So how do you now attack the enemy's tactical systems? So first you do electronic warfare. That means you radiate and get inside a system, and then through that you implant your malware.
Okay.
So this mixture of cyber warfare and electronic warfare is called cybertronic warfare, and that is what is going to happen in the TBA. Whereas on the rear, in the hinterland, wherever there is connectivity on the internet, including the private sector, there are different type of cyber attacks are going to take place, through phishing and malware and ransomware and advertising and worms. So that's a different type of cyber warfare. So this is how the cyber attacks will take place, and the preventive measures are definitely in place. Finally, so I want to use a word called deterrence. That if you want to stop cyber attacks, unless there is deterrence, the other person, your adversary, will keep attacking you.
Correct, sir.
So deterrence means that it is of two types. One is called deterrence by denial, and the other is deterrence by punishment. Deterrence by denial means, let's say in the Israel, they've created a cyber dome. Or take the Air Force example. You've created a dome sort of thing that the enemy's planes cannot attack you. The moment he attacks you, the AD will fire and finish him off. So that is deterrence by denial. That means you deny his entry into your system.
Sir.
Second is called deterrence by punishment. That means if he does enter, let's say the aircraft does enter, then the retaliation that we will impose upon him will be much worse than whatever he is even thought of. So he is scared now to attack you.
Capability.
To attack you. Yeah, it's like your nuclear,
Sir.
No first use.
Sir.
So that is deterrence by punishment. So same thing happens in cyber. That means if he attacks your critical infrastructure, then he has to be prepared that his critical infrastructure will get attacked. So that is the sort of warfare that takes place, in the cyber domain. That besides the preventive measures, the deterrence aspect is very important, which is why the government of India has got two agencies. One is Ministry of Defence, and second is in the NTRO. It's there in the cabinet, it's there in the public domain, which are meant for active defence, as we say.
So do we have such strong cyber posturing? Because this is, I think, cyber posturing, and that's how, if we as a nation show that our posture is very, very strong, either denial or counter-attack capabilities. Are we capable, sir, as a...
So, I mean, the test is there in the open domain that in the Global Cybersecurity Index, from 47th place, we've come down to 10th place.
Correct, sir.
And then in the last review that we have, we've now come into tier 1. Tier 1 are the top countries with cyber capability, capabilities. And recent strategies that I am reading now of various nations, the strategy on cyber security, there is a shift to cyber power.
Sir.
So that is why this aspect of deterrence that I mentioned is now being included as your cyber capability. And in that also, we are in the top tier. So, I mean, the world is saying that, it's not us.
Good, sir. That gives a lot of confidence, actually.
Of course.
And I'm sure for audience also, it will give a lot of confidence.
There's no doubt.
Sir, one other concern is that in military, and not only military, otherwise also we have a large dependence on software and hardware from developed countries. I think in military ecosystem, we have more than 70% of our hardware which is imported. And that opens up another threat landscape.
Oh, yes.
And India ranked 6th globally for cyber attacks as per data of 2023, out of which 21% is accounted for the supply chain risks. In such a scenario, sir, how do we ensure that we balance the reliance on global supply chain and simultaneously ensure that our security and resilience is not compromised?
A very important question, Ashish, because I was just reading yesterday's Times of India
Sir.
that one of our tactical drones has crossed over to the other side and landed in Pakistan. And I was just thinking that in some of our drones, there are Chinese components. And with the, nexus that they have, could it have been maneuvered and made to land there? So this was just going through my mind.
Exactly.
We cannot rule out these possibilities. So supply chain, extremely important, especially for, our weapon systems. And the supply chains are both for software as well as for hardware. Now, because of this globalization, we have to understand that you take any big firm. One of these firms was telling me that their supply chain includes 15,000 vendors, including tier 2 and tier 3 level.
Okay, sir.
So this is the, large number of sources from which they are getting their equipment. Small components, big components, etc. And the compromise of those components, is not very difficult.
Correct, sir.
So that is why, what is the ideal solution? Everything is made inside the country. And we have a testing mechanism. But that cannot happen. Because even today, we are dependent on a country of concern for a large number of chips. They are not available anywhere else in the world. Or if they are available, the cost is prohibitively high. Right?
And they have put a restriction also, sir. I
And
think
they put-
not more than 50,000
Yeah.
chips we can import.
Yeah, that is for that GPU thing, for AI. So, what we have done as a nation is a very smart thing, actually. In at least for the telecom sector, I can tell you that on 16th December 2020, the cabinet approved a national security directive on the telecom sector,
Okay.
which stipulated that any equipment connected to the telecom network of India has to be a trusted equipment from a trusted source, a trusted product from a trusted source, right? Now, what is a trusted source? What is a trusted product? There is a committee. I was the designated authority of this whole system. So, trusted source means that when a telecom service provider like Airtel or Jio or BSNL or Vodafone, they want to buy any telecom equipment,
Sir.
they tell us that from this company they want to buy the equipment, right? The name of the company comes. Now there is a committee. That committee has members from IB, from CAPSEC, from MEA, from Department of Corporate Affairs, of course Telecom, MeitY, etc., and all the other agencies, etc. there. And this information is given to this company that is this company reliable? So somebody goes into the links of this company. Does it have any links with the military of that nation? What about the grandfather? We go into the financial, who's the ultimate beneficiary? Is he reliable or not? So these checks are carried on. And after these checks, then we tell that telecom service provider that, okay, this source is a trusted source.
Okay.
Right? Then he tells us, okay, now from this source, he wants to buy this equipment. So when the equipment details comes to us, this is very interesting. We go down to the level of active programmable semiconductors. That means the chips that are there in that equipment. Are the chips coming from a trusted source or not? Right? And we see the HBOM and the SBOM. HBOM is the hardware bill of material, SBOM is the software bill of material.
Sure.
As to what are the software modules. Again, are they And after this entire exercise, it's a very difficult exercise, a very tough exercise. Then we tell that guy, okay, this product is now a trusted product. So then he buys it and puts it in the network. So what India has done is a very smart thing, although there's a lot of hard work which goes behind it. But the other countries have taken names, like America has put a number of these Chinese companies, Huawei, ZTE, in the entities list. They've banned them.
Okay.
We have not taken any names. Government of India has not taken any names. But what we have said is that anyone who can come through the gate has to be a trusted source, and that what he brings, that product has to be a trusted product. And that is how we have ensured that our telecom network is now a trusted network, especially in the 5G space. Now the same concept is being applied in the power ministry, because the government of India has classified 7 critical sectors. Out of 7, 2 are considered as supercritical.
Okay.
Power sector and telecom sector.
Sure.
Because if something happens to power, then your podcast is over.
Exactly.
We cannot record anything.
Whole country will
If
come.
something happens to telecom, then again, the flow of information will stop. Even governance will stop. You issue of orders and everything. So power and telecom are considered as supercritical sectors. So in telecom, we've sorted out. Same thing now power is doing. They're saying whatever comes into our power sector will be a trusted product from trusted source. And now I find some of these RFPs from the Ministry of Defense coming out. उसमें लिखा रहता है that it has to be a trusted product and trusted source as per NSCS. So this is how the aspect of supply chain is being tackled as compared to what some of the other countries are doing.
And is this 100% foolproof, sir? This due diligence system which you spoke about?
So see, 100% when you say again, I mentioned that telecom service providers come to us, but there are some private players, right? Something can be coming to your home. That box, that router that comes to your home is all Chinese,
Yeah.
right? So we can do that much only, but 100% is difficult because there are about more than 1,000 telecom service providers. They are classified as class A, B, and C. So class A are those who have got a national license. So like Airtel and all I mentioned. Class B are within the states only, and class C are at district level. So some of these smaller ones, and then there are internet service providers only. Some guy is only there for data. So there some smaller ones are there. They may not be coming to us also and buying the equipment, right? Then there is a concept of CKDs. So people get these kits from outside, assemble it here and sell it here. Then a very interesting case happened. We saw some bags coming as e-waste or something like that. And they had changed that number of the customs, and when we opened it, we found the Chinese boxes were there inside. So nothing can be 100%, the leakages will take place. But by and large, as far as our major networks, national networks are concerned, that we've ensured.
The attack surface is very, very large. Sir.
Yes, exactly.
And if we are able to manage these large level of infrastructure, I think we are at this. So we have few rapid fire questions, sir.
Oh my God.
The most significant lesson you have learned as National Cybersecurity Coordinator?
Most significant lesson is that coordinator is not a very happy job because those aspects that I mentioned, coordinating between the different ministries.
Sir.
You can see my hair, what has happened compared to yours. So I would have preferred a CEO sort of a job, sure. Somebody with an executive power and resources rather than a coordinator. So the most important lesson is that it's very difficult to coordinate, especially at a government of India level, where the ministries are so entrenched in their own allocation of business rules. So that is why I said 2047 we must have that organization.
The second, is India ready for a fully digitized military?
And I don't think there should be a fully digitized military also, frankly.
Okay.
I keep saying, that man behind the machine is very important. In fact, some years back, the USA tried an experiment. It was called Force 21. So they had a brigade-sized force, which was fully digitized.
Okay, sir.
And that was expected to do the job of a division. So brigade-sized force, given the task of a division, because they said that we put in so much money, resources and technology in this, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So we have to learn from these experiences.
Obviously, sir.
Yeah.
That's AI or quantum computing, which will impact cybersecurity more?
See, the answer is quantum. And why I'm saying quantum is uh, because as far as AI is concerned today, it is AI is being used for attacking also, and AI is being used for defending also.
Double-edged weapon.
So it is AI versus AI is already taking place,
Sure.
right? So it is being used for attacking means that there is a type of attack that takes place where it is attacking, it is sensing the defenses that you've got, and based on the defenses, it is changing itself. So it's called polymorphic sort of attack, and it changes itself so that suddenly it appears a benefit to you. It appears when that packet comes through, right? So that is how AI is being used in attack. In defense, recently Google has got a product called DeepMind
Okay, sir.
that has in defense picked up a zero-day attack. Zero-day attack is the most dangerous attack in cyber because it is a malware whose cure is not there, right? Whose patch has not been discovered as yet. So it comes through. But Google AI of that Google that found it was doing something abnormal, so it picked it up. So AI is taking care of AI. So
Okay.
I'm quite happy with that. But in quantum, what is happening is that if with the quantum computing that we were talking of, if our encryption is broken, then everything is open. So that is today more dangerous uh, from the point of view of you asked which is more dangerous.
Okay, sir. And if you could borrow one cybersecurity tool from another country,
Oh.
what would it be, sir?
They don't share their tools as to what all they have got. But what I would like is something called a global scanner.
Okay, sir.
You see, the scanner is something that scans very quickly all the IP addresses, and then it is able to find out, some. When I mentioned attribution as to, from where the attacks are coming from. So because of the speed of processors, there's a limitation to this scanner. So if I have to scan our national, IP space, let's say about 15 crore IP addresses, it will take me a couple of hours to do it, say 24 hours. But some countries have scanners which are doing global scanning within 1 hour, let us say. Very fast scanners, and they are able to find out, what's happening where and find out the vulnerabilities. So that is a very powerful tool.
It's a
global
kind
scanner.
of threat intelligence tool, sir?
Yeah, it is a threat intelligence tool. Threat intelligence will be a step after that.
Okay.
But this is a basic tool.
An international cybersecurity expert you admire the most?
Yeah, so I met this gentleman in Israel, right? His name actually is Major General Ben Israel.
Okay, sir.
He's a pretty old man now, but he's a professor also. And he has given some demonstrations of, how to jump the air gap. So there is one internet, there is one intranet, and some of the innovations that they do, it's amazing that, from the sound of a fan, they are able to make out, what is the data from the LED blinking, they can find out things. So, and he's created a very good innovation center called CyberSpark,
Okay, sir.
where the industry is there, the academia is there, there's a Ben Gurion University which is there. So everyone is together at one place, and then they experiment very quickly and find solutions. So Major General Ben Israel is something I really admire. He's there in
That's
Israel.
very surprising, sir. I mean,
Yeah.
sound of a fan and blinking of a light,
yes,
they
yes, yes.
take out
In
data.
a laptop, the speed of the fan changes.
Okay. And so, one word to describe India's biggest cybersecurity challenge today?
Dependence. And dependence on the global supply chain.
Okay.
That is what I meant by dependence. That is a very big danger for us.
Obviously. And so, your favorite pastime when you are not discussing cyber threats?
Ah, good. I like that. Music. I like music.
Okay.
I play quite a few musical instruments.
Oh,
also.
you play, sir?
Yes.
Guitar, sir?
No, basically it's the keyboard and
Okay.
percussion, and of course flute, mouth organ, everything. So I enjoy it.
So, that's wonderful, sir. We didn't know, otherwise, we could have arranged a few
A band at
instruments
the
for you
end.
to play. And, sir, a place you would love to visit again for its digital advancements?
Yeah, so I do not know if the audience knows about the Military College of Telecom Engineering in Mao, MCT Mao. When I was there, we had some antique equipment, but now they've got an AI lab, they've got a quantum lab,
Okay.
and new and emerging technologies lab, and a lot of this. They've got a quantum-based Wi-Fi within the campus. So there's a lot of improvements have taken place. So I want to go and see that.
Okay, sir. Good, sir. I'll also take time
Yes, yes.
to visit. Sir, if you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
I think artificial intelligence,
Okay.
use of AI. I would like to go more into, in fact, there is a subject called prompt engineering.
Okay.
Have you heard of prompt engineering?
Yes, yes.
Because now with the AI coming in, uh, how to ask the question properly to AI, how to give the prompt, as they say, so that you get the best answer. Otherwise, there are aspects like hallucinations and, wrong things coming out. So I want to learn prompt engineering today.
Okay. And sir, the one book that inspired your journey to cybersecurity?
So let me think. More than a book, you see, in 1995, there was a 90-page discourse written by a Professor Martin Libicki
Okay, sir.
of the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., NDU.
Sir.
You can Google and see Martin Libicki. He is called the father of information warfare. And he wrote this seminal paper titled What is Information Warfare? And at that point of time, he says that it is not one sort of a subject, it has different forms. So it has cyber warfare, it has psychological warfare, it has electronic warfare, it has command and control warfare, it has economic intelligence warfare, it has int-based warfare, and it has hacker warfare. So he divided information warfare into 7 forms. And to read that at that point of time is the key that actually set me off in this field on cyber and information warfare. So I can't forget Professor Martin Libicki.
Okay. And sir, last but not the least, like I told you, the theme for the U-Turn, our podcast series, for this year is Surakshit Bharat, Viksit Bharat, Journey to
Absolutely.
2047. And we give this name, the U-Turn, YOU, is actually to inspire and motivate our citizen to contribute to this grand vision by taking some or the other Rashtra goal apart from having their own goal. So, sir, what is your message to our citizen today so that they can contribute and keep country first and their personal goal behind?
So, friends, our vision of becoming the third largest economy is based on a growth rate of 7 to 8% over the next number of years. And with what we've discussed in the last hour or so, we cannot afford these headwinds of cyber crime and cyber security to reduce our growth. Because this economic growth with the cyber crimes, etc., and the losses that I mentioned, in fact, last year our total loss was 1.24 lakh crores of the national economy was lost due to cyber crime and cyber frauds and other data thefts, etc. So it is very important for you and I to understand that to secure our national cyberspace, it has to be a whole of nation approach. So the responsibility of the individual has to be there, the responsibility of business has to be there, responsibility of academia has to be there, and responsibility of government has to be there. And remember, a cyber attack starts with that one individual getting compromised. Even in a nuclear station, one individual who gets that mail, phishing mail, and he clicks on it, and that malware drops, and after that, it is like a terrorist. You see, a terrorist has a handler outside the country. So that malware from his computer, he starts talking to what is called as a C2, the command and control. And that command and control then tells him, okay, you now in one computer, now you do a lateral spread, you do escalation of privileges and try and get the admin rights of that network. And if you get admin rights, now you're sitting in a very, very dangerous position to do anything against the critical infrastructure of the nation. So that individual is very important also. So to make the national cyberspace, all of us have an equal responsibility, and please develop good cyber hygiene. That is where I want to end.
Thanks a lot, sir. And once again, I'm thankful to you, sir, for taking
You're
your
welcome.
time.
You're welcome.
We've come to the end of our podcast.
Thank you so much.
This is a set of 4 Vedas.
अरे वाह, अच्छा, कौन सी लैंग्वेज में है?
हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों है सर.
वेरी गुड, ये तो पढ़ें. दिस इज वेरी नाइस. चलिए.